Hey trackies, welcome back to another video. Please remember to smash that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. That's how the video gets to the YouTube algorithm. Share the video if you care. I hope you all care. So share, and yes, please sound off in the comment section below. So Team Jamaica failed to qualify three of a possible five teams that would represent us at the World Championships coming up in September at the recently concluded World Relays, in which 14 spots are up for grabs at that event. And if you don't qualify in top 14, then you only have a possibility of getting one of only two spots that remain to represent the country at the World Championships. Now, Jamaica qualified two teams. We qualified the women's 4x100 meters and the men's 4x400 meters, which means that we did not qualify the men's 4x1, the mixed 4x4, and the women's 4x4. Now, since then, of course, Jamaica, the J3As, they have come up with a plan as it relates to how to potentially get our teams qualified for the World Championships. Now, at first, they did indicate that they were possibly looking at the Racers Grand Prix. However, that did not work out. Now, since then, they did highlight that they are targeting three meetings: the Barbados Grand Prix that would come up July the 5th, the London Diamond League that will come up July the 19th, and the NACAC Senior Championships that would come up August the 15th through to the 17th. Now, this is July 6th. So that means that the Barbados Grand Prix is now done and dusted, and the opportunity for us to qualify our three additional teams to represent us at the World Championships. Yes, the results are in, and track is unfortunately we did not qualify any of our teams or any of those three teams to represent us at the World Championships that would be coming up. Now, interestingly, though, trackies, I have to note that we did not send a women's 4x400 meter team to try to qualify. Now, as things stand right now, Jamaica is sitting in one of those top two positions, or those two positions that is left, that ranks us 16th, in the world, with a time of 3 minutes 24.12 seconds. So, with that being said, trackies, we right now, as things stand, from a female perspective for the 4x4, could very well be able to compete at the World Championships with that team. And it is not likely, given that majority of the best teams in the world so far have qualified through the route of course, going to the World Relays and getting into top 14. So it's not likely that we'll find a team faster than Jamaica that will boot us out of top 16. So we're keeping our fingers crossed when it comes to that women's 4x4. But when it comes to the other events, the men's 4x1, and of course the mixed relay, things are a bit more interesting. Now, trackies, as far as I'm concerned, when the teams were announced that would be representing us for, these relays that would be coming up at the Barbados Grand Prix, I already set my expectations. So the release at the time indicated that we would be sending Kadrian Golson, Buwaji Nkrumah, as well as Odin McPherson and Adrian Kerr to represent us in that 4x100 meter relays. That's not the exact team that represented us at the actual competition, but that was what was originally released as it relates to who would be a part of the men's 4x100 meters. Now, the team for the 4x400 meters mixed relay was Renisha McGregor, Shanake Anderson, Jeremy Bembridge, and also Bevel McPherson. I already set my expectation as it relates to Jamaica possibly improving upon our positions that we went into the Barbados Grand Prix with. Now, let's start with the mixed 4x400 meter relays. Now, as things stand right now, we're sitting in the 16th position with a time of 3 minutes 11.06 seconds. And to be clear, this time was ran at the Olympic Games in the heats, right? So we would have to literally, trackies, run faster than 3 minutes 11.06, and the time, to be exact, to improve upon our position is faster than 3 minutes 07.43 seconds. So the team that ranks higher than us, that is sitting in that 15th position, has a time of 3 minutes 07.43 seconds. And to be clear, this is the Netherlands, and this is the team that won at the Olympic Games. So again, setting our expectations and thinking about when this time was run and the conditions that it was run under, yes, it was highly unlikely in my mind for Team Jamaica to improve upon its rank, given again the athletes that would be, representing us in this mixed 4x4. And to be clear, you would absolutely need the best of the best if you were ever going to be contesting that 3 minutes 07.43 seconds. So because I already set my expectations, trackies, I didn't go in, with any crazy thoughts that, hey, we could potentially challenge that time. So the team of Jeremy Bembridge, Shanika Anderson, Bovell McPherson, and Renisha McGregor won the mixed 4x4, and they ran a time of 3 minutes 15.06 seconds. And trackies, I'm not knocking any of these athletes. I'm very much appreciative of them making themselves available to try to go after, improving on our positioning when it comes to this mixed 4x4. But as I said, it was not going to be likely given the team that we are chasing, right, to get into that 15th position. And as I said, only 2 spots are available, number 15 and number 16. And to get into 15, you'll have to be running your absolute best team to get there. And this isn't Jamaica's A team as far as I'm concerned if we're ever hoping to get into that 15th position. Now, as I said, we sit in that 16th position based on world ranking with that 3 minutes 11.06 seconds. Now, as far as I'm concerned, things are very, very precarious for us in this mixed relays because unlike the women's 4x4, when I look at the teams that are already qualified and who is behind us and the fact that it may be unlikely for them to unseat us out of that 16th position, not so for the mixed 4x4 because there's a team that is very well capable of unseating us, and that is the Dominica Republic. And I was reminded about this when we were talking about the relays early on when we were going through, all the drama at the World Relays. And, commenter did highlight to me that, hey, remember the Dominica Republic is still out there. And I'm like, oh, yes, they are. No, at the 2025 World Relays, to get there, unfortunately, they did have visa issues. So they were not able to compete at the World Relays. And unfortunately, their World Relays time from 2024 is no longer valid. And what happened to them at the Olympic Games is quite unfortunate. They did feel the team not strong enough, when it came to progressing from the heat to the finals. And so their team didn't progress from the heat to the finals, which means that their A team didn't have the opportunity to run. So they really don't have a fast time, or a ranking that will place them higher than Jamaica. But let me make something very clear. If Dominica Republic is supposed to put out a team, their A team for that mixed 4x4, Jamaica is in absolute trouble because they can kick us out quite easily out of that 16th position. And as I said, chasing down the 15th position is going to be an absolute uphill battle because that 3 minutes 07.43 seconds is not a time that you can easily chase. You have to literally search out your best of your best to see if you can hit it, and even so you may not be able to get to such a crazy time, especially as I said, the conditions of running this time, the Olympic Games, right? Think about the fact that all these athletes are peaked and ready to run their best. That's not the current state of affairs for the Jamaican athletes. A lot of them, are not currently ready to run their best, right? And it won't happen until maybe you're at a championships, which means that we have to hope and pray that the Dominica Republic, don't run a mixed 4x4, which as I said, is kind of, a little strange and probably a little unfair for me to be hoping and praying that they don't run, a mixed 4x4. But the fact is, I think we're in a precarious position when it comes to this, mixed 4x4. Let's see how things progress because honestly, things are not really looking good. And I'm not, hoping upon a star that we will have a team in the mixed 4x4, if it is that Domrec. And I really want to see, the Domrec there. They're a really, really strong team. So if they indeed, feel a team at one of these meetings coming up and get a time fast enough, then more than likely, Jamaica will be booted out. Let's jump on over now to the 4x400 meters, the men. Now, as things stand right now, we are not in top 16. I believe we're 18th rank. Now, in order to get into top 16, though, we need to run faster than 38.20 seconds, which 2 teams incidentally sit on that same time. So if we're able to run faster, we literally jump straight into the 15th position. on. Now, I did tell you the team earlier that, was originally listed to compete for us at the World Relays. Who actually turned up, or who actually, went? It was Buaji and Krumi, to Christopher Taylor, to O'Dane McPherson, to a Adrian Golson. So as you can see, Adrian Kerr was not a part of the team, and they added a Christopher Taylor to be a part of this men's 4x100 meters. So they won the race, and they ran a time of 38.42 seconds. So not quite fast enough, trackies, to make it into top 15, right? But what I will say is that, this was a pretty good team, and, it kind of also highlighted what I keep, honed in and harping on this channel, is that we really lack practice. We really and truly lack practice. And I think that is what is holding us back. Because when I looked at this team, Buwaji, to Christopher, to O'Dane, to Kadrian, I definitely think that they had the tools to run faster than, that 38.20 seconds. But what we saw for the most part in that relay was a lot of the same issues that I talk about all the time. The slowing down of the baton exchanges, were not as crisp as they could have been, which, as I believe, based on what I saw, is what really blocked our athletes, from running, faster than that 38.20 seconds. So to put things into perspective, track is Buaji and Krumi ran a blistering first leg. Now he made it to the finals for the 100 meters at our national senior championships, where he was 7th, and he ran a 10.09 seconds, and it kind of showed here that he's in really good shape, because his first leg was really, really solid. Now, that was into Christopher Taylor. The baton slowed down a little bit, I would say. Christopher Taylor ran a really competent leg, in my opinion, into O'Dane. I thought that this exchange was the poorest exchange of, the two exchanges that happened. And yeah, the baton slowed down a bit more, when on that exchange, as far as I'm concerned. And then into Kadrian Golson, track is, when it came to his leg, really, really solid leg as well. He was 6th in the men's 100-meter finals at the national championships with a 10.07 seconds, really showing his form, in this 4x100 meters, really taking the team. We actually ended up slightly behind, actually, because of the baton exchanges, but Kadrian definitely, proved his mettle in that final, 100 for the 4x1, and, took us to an amazing victory. And he was actually the individual 100-meter winner, at that meeting. So again, really, really solid run from, the athletes. I would say individually, the legs gave me what they were supposed to give me, right? All the athletes, I thought, ran absolutely well and gave it their all, as far as I'm concerned. Wherein lies the issue, in my opinion, again, is the baton exchanges, and it highlights even more so that we are lacking practice, right? So we can get, 4 guys together, 4 competent guys together, and still not be able to meet, this type of criteria because of the exchanges. So I'm hoping that the J3 is looking at this and thinking that, okay, let's get, 4 faster guys. Okay, fine and dandy, but the issue still remains. I hope they're looking at it and saying, okay, we definitely need to make sure that these athletes get some practice in, because it is absolutely necessary if we want to, one, go on clearly and qualify, and 2, just contend for a medal, right? I'm tired of seeing Jamaica not being able to contend for medals, especially in an event that we should be able, to, as far as I'm concerned, easily dominate. No, you can come for me all you want in the comments. I don't care. I stand 10 toes, with my team. We can dominate in the 4x100 meters. We just need to make sure that we're getting that, cohesiveness working, and it's not working right now for us. But yeah, I think there's a lot, to work with. I see people online saying, that, this team can run again. I believe they can run again. I definitely believe that they'll be able to hit the time. But also, I do want to see our top guys competing. Now, clearly, the Barbados Grand Prix clashed with, the Eugene Diamond League. So when I saw the team as well, or the list of athletes competing, and then thinking that there was a Eugene Diamond League, for me, it was a no-brainer that we would not be able to get our best athletes there. But I did also tell you guys earlier on, from the original inception, from the J3A saying that they were targeting certain meetings, I said the best meeting is actually going to be the London Diamond League. Why? Because it's highly likely that the MVP athletes will be available to run there. And like it or not, we are depending heavily on the MVP athletes, especially when you think about this 4x100 meters. We're depending on them heavily. So I believe that by the time the London Diamond League rolls around, which is the July the 19th, we'll be able to put together a strong enough team that will be able to compete. And of course, as I believe, make this time quite easily. Now, we will still be missing the likes of an Obdik Seville because he's out with a slight injury concern. So we need him ready 100% when it comes to, the World Championships. But I also am a bit concerned from a practice perspective. We saw what happened at the World Relays. The baton dropped twice for the men, right? So they weren't able to get it around. And I really want, especially the fact that there are a number of new faces, we need to give them the opportunity to practice. We can't just be expecting them to win just so, right? They have to get the baton around. So I'm hoping that we create an opportunity for them to practice so that they can be at their best and show their best. And as I said, in my opinion, I believe they can dominate, right? So let's see what happens in London. I believe in London we can definitely clear, the qualification for the men's 4x100 meters. We can very well, field two teams again. We can field the same team that was here, the same team, Buwaji to Christopher Taylor to Odin McPherson to Gadrian Golson. We can get some practice in for the Buwajis and the Kadrians because my opinion is they will be there. Even Christopher Taylor, because Christopher Taylor has an opportunity as long as he's able to hit the qualification standard, make it to represent Jamaica at the World Championships, right? So I believe giving these guys more practice means that once we get to the World Relays, if anything happens and any of the top guys, the top four that we're expecting to be a part of the relay, they're not available for whatever reason, hey, these guys can be slotted in and they will be ready to go, right? So I'm expecting to see Kadrian Golson, Buaji Nkrumah, and also Christopher Taylor be options in our minds if we're thinking about, additional people to use on relays, especially, as I said, at the World Championship. So yeah, we can field multiple teams in the 4x1. I wouldn't mind seeing an A team and a B team. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing us compete at the London Diamond League. So I've talked for a bit. Now it's time for me to know your opinions in the comment section below. Of course, sound off. Don't forget to hit the like and also subscribe. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.